Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into a truly extraordinary, almost jaw-dropping story. It really blurs the lines between media, celebrity, and just raw, unfiltered life itself.
Yeah, it's quite something.
We're talking about the unique relationship between the ham radio show and, well, a figure who was definitely larger than life, a man who constantly pushed the boundaries of public perception, Dennis Hof.
hmm
Now, you might know Dennis Hof as the owner of those famous legal brothels in Nevada, maybe as a politician who actually got elected after he passed away.
Right, posthumously elected to the Nevada Assembly. Quite a story in itself.
It really is, and certainly a man with a, let's say, a larger-than-life personality.
Mhm.
But for the ham radio show, he was so much more than just a headline grabber.
Absolutely. He wasn't just some guy they interviewed. He was a frequent, beloved and, yeah, undeniably controversial guest. A true show friend, as they called him.
A show friend, I like that. He really shared his world, his triumphs, and even his vulnerabilities, all live on air.
That's exactly it. And look, this isn't just about digging up sensational headlines or crazy moments, though there were plenty of those, believe me.
Oh, I believe you.
It's really about understanding a bond, a connection that just went way beyond typical media stuff. Our mission today really is to cut through all the noise and show you how the ham radio show and its hosts, especially Eddie Finocchiaro, forged this almost like familial connection with Hoff.
Okay.
So we're going to explore the truly wild moments that happen live on air, for sure. But also, crucially, how the show stayed fiercely loyal, standing by him, defending his name, even after he died.
And where are we getting this insight from?
It's coming straight from the source, from the raw, immediate reactions, the detailed recollections captured right there in the ham radio show transcripts themselves. We're talking episodes dedicated to clearing Hoff's name, first-hand accounts of trips to his ranches, and even his very poignant final call into the show.
So, direct source material.
Exactly. We're basically giving you a shortcut to, hopefully, some genuine understanding of this whole dynamic.
And our goal today, is to give you that shortcut. A way to get well-informed about this fascinating and, let's face it, often misunderstood relationship. You'll hear direct accounts, some pretty shocking details, actually, that really illustrate the kind of man Dennis Hof was to the people who knew him best.
Right. It's a perspective you're probably not going to find in, mainstream media reports.
Definitely not. Expect surprising facts, maybe a few laughs along the way, and a lot of genuine insight as we help you understand what was truly most important about this unique connection between a legendary figure and, well, an equally unvarnished, unfiltered radio show.
Unfiltered is definitely the word.
So let's dive deep into this remarkable story.
Aye.
The unfiltered friendship. Dennis Hof and the ham radio show.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this whole narrative, we absolutely have to start at the core, right? The friendship itself.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Hof wasn't just some guest who called in occasionally. He was, and this is a direct quote from Eddie Finocchiaro, my own personal Jesus. That's an incredibly intense statement, isn't it? I mean, it suggests a connection far, far beyond typical media interactions.
It absolutely does, and it really speaks volumes about the nature of their relationship. This wasn't your standard media guest thing where there's, a professional distance kept.
Right.
Eddie and the whole crew at the show, they held Hoff in extremely high regard. That phrase, my own personal Jesus, it wasn't just hyperbole for Eddie. You get the sense it genuinely reflected this deep personal connection, an admiration that went way beyond just professional courtesy.
So more than just liking a guest.
Oh, much more. And this intense personal bond is not just some quirky detail, right? It's almost like the Rosetta Stone for understanding why the ham radio show became Hoff's most, fervent and unapologetic advocate.
Okay, explain that a bit more. The Rosetta Stone.
Well, it illustrates how deep personal loyalty can totally reshape a media narrative. It offered this kind of intimacy you rarely see in public discourse, and it fundamentally challenged that objective stance you often expect from media outlets.
Right, the idea of journalistic distance.
Exactly. The show consistently praised Hoff for his graciousness, his genuine nature. They often contrasted him with other public figures who might be more, calculated or media savvy in their appearances.
So they saw him as authentic.
Deeply authentic. And this level of personal endorsement from a radio host for a flinger like Dennis Hof, that's truly rare. It really highlights the unique, sometimes boundary-pushing approach the ham radio show took with its content and its guests.
So this unlikely alliance, as we called it, this really deep personal connection, that seems to be the absolute bedrock here.
Mm-hmm.
how did that respect, that foundation,
Hmm.
then translate into the show's famously open, very direct approach? Was it just like authenticity trumping politeness, or was there something more going on?
I think it was definitely more than just a preference for being real. That strong personal bond, it really underlined the show's entire identity, you know? They weren't afraid to form relationships that went beyond those conventional media boundaries, which then naturally set the stage for the raw, the honest, and sometimes, yeah, utterly shocking discussions that happened when they talked with Hoff. Authenticity for them always trumped decorum because it was rooted in a genuine relationship.
Makes sense.
And that foundation of respect, that's precisely why, as you're about to find out, the show stayed so fiercely loyal to Dennis Hof. Even when he faced public allegations, even after he died and people were criticizing him, it wasn't just about defending a guest for them.
It was defending a friend.
Exactly, a
Yeah.
trusted friend.
And that loyalty, it really comes into sharp focus when you think about how Dennis Hof himself saw his own public image, especially in what tragically turned out to be his last call to the ham radio show back in August 2018.
Yeah, that last call.
He really pushed back against being defined only by that controversial term pimp. He clearly felt it was just too narrow, an unfair label that ignored, well, all the other facets of his life and his career.
He absolutely did. And that wasn't just some casual chat, you know? It felt like a powerful, almost defiant statement of self-definition from him.
How so?
Well, Hoff recounted how his critics, they'd never call me pimpin' Oxford lecturer or pimpin' reality movie TV star or pimpin' author. He was listing these things, pointing out the hypocrisy.
Right, contrasting the label with his actual accomplishment.
Exactly. He was incredibly proud of his Cinemax series, which he actually produced, and his political ambitions were very real to him. And get this, he even had prominent political figures backing him, like Roger Stone, who was also a frequent guest on the show, interestingly enough.
Small world, or maybe not so small in that circle.
All right. Stone endorsed him as the Trump of Pump, praising his, richness, fame, loudness, being an author, reality TV star, all of it. It's clear Hoff saw himself as a successful businessman, an entertainer, maybe even a disruptor.
Not just a brothel owner.
Definitely not just that, not defined solely by that one, albeit significant aspect of his enterprise.
And this segment from his last call, it's so revealing because it shows Hoff's really deep desire for a broader, a more nuanced public perception. He was actively challenging the media's often one-dimensional focus on the brothels, which, we should remember, were legally operated, regulated businesses in Nevada. He saw his places, with their clean, licensed, consensual environment as, and this is his famous phrase, Disneyland for your dick.
He really said that.
He did. To him, it was a model of, ethical and transparent operation within a very controversial industry. He even made that joke, didn't he? If I'm going to be a pimp, who better than run you political whores than me?
Yeah, that was classic Hoff. Turning the criticism right back on them, using their own language against them. It was his way of kind of flipping the script.
And he didn't stop there, did he? He wasn't afraid to call out what he saw as hypocrisy.
Not at all. He actually revealed, live on the show, that some of his critics had themselves paid for experiences at his places, specifically mentioning a bondage cage.
Wow, naming names, or close to it.
He didn't hold back much. That really drives home the double standards he felt he was constantly facing, doesn't it? He used the ham radio show as this platform to basically say, look, you think you know me, but you don't know the half of it.
Right.
And this wasn't just about defending himself. It felt like he was trying to expose what he saw as the two-faced nature of public morality,
So Hoff was really playing offense here, calling out hypocrisy. But I wonder, how effective do you think that was, publicly? Using the show to reveal private details about critics, even if they were true. Did it work, or did it maybe risk turning some people off who thought it was, I don't know, a bit much?
That's a really good question, and it kind of gets to the heart of the ham radio show's whole appeal, I think, for their core listeners, the loyal ones. Hoff's candor probably resonated deeply. It reinforced this idea that he was an authentic guy, unafraid to speak uncomfortable truths.
Right, playing to the base.
Exactly. Now, for people outside that immediate audience, yeah, it definitely could have been polarizing, maybe seen as petty or vindictive. But for Hoff and for the show, the goal wasn't really universal appeal. It was about authenticity, loyalty to their own kind of moral compass, whatever that was.
Their own rules.
Pretty much. And this context is just essential because it shows that the ham radio show gave Hoff this unique, completely uncensored platform where he clearly felt comfortable expressing all these complex sides of his personality and his career. It wasn't just an interview slot.
It was a safe space, in a way.
A safe space for him to be completely himself, yeah. It was a space for genuine, totally uninhibited dialogue. And as you're about to hear, this openness, this lack of filters, it led to some truly memorable and frankly wild moments that pushed and sometimes completely smashed the boundaries of live radio.
Cute.
Wild and uncensored moments. The Ham Radio Show's airtime with Hoff.
And speaking of pushing boundaries, let's talk about one of the most audacious and honestly almost unbelievable moments involving Dennis Hof on the Ham Radio Show.
Uh-oh, I think I know where this is going.
I'm talking about the infamous plowing box incident that's actually happened live, on air.
Yeah.
And it just perfectly encapsulates the raw, the uncensored nature of their interactions. It's seriously hard to imagine something like this happening on basically any other show.
It is quite the story, and it really underscores just how much they just, dared to be different. So the segment started with Dennis Hof calling back into the show during a commercial break.
Okay.
And he was completely upfront about what was going on. He literally announced, "This is Ava Adora. She's getting her clothes off now and getting in my memory foam bed. I'm going to bounce on it with her."
He actually said that on the phone, knowing they were on break but still connected.
Yep. And the hosts, never once to shy away from a provocative joke themselves. They were already making comments about box eating, which kind of set a very clear expectation for what might be coming next.
They definitely weren't shying away from it. But what happened when they came back from that commercial break, that was truly next level, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
They realized, maybe inadvertently at first, that they were broadcasting the unmistakable sounds of Hof and Ava Adora having sex live.
Yeah.
On the radio.
You could hear?
You can almost hear the shock mixed with pure amusement in Eddie's voice. He exclaimed, "Behind us, you can hear Ava Adora having sex. Do you hear that? Am I the only one hearing this?"
And the crew, they were right there with him.
Oh, yeah, equally enthusiastic, shouting stuff like, "Dennis Hof is clowing her." It's just incredible to even think about.
And look, this wasn't just shock value purely for shock value's sake, I don't think. Or maybe it was partly, but it felt more like this deliberate boundary-shattering act. It underscored the show's belief that, true authenticity means letting the audience witness the raw, unedited reality.
Even when it's,
Even when it's deeply uncomfortable or unconventional, yeah. It challenged the whole notion of what professional radio could even be. It just blurred the lines between media and life in a way very few others would ever dare to. And in doing that, it created this undeniable, maybe controversial, but definitely strong connection with its listeners.
So that incident, it perfectly encapsulates the truly boundary-pushing nature of the show and its unique relationship with Hof.
Totally. It highlights the unpredictable content that defined their broadcast. It attracted listeners precisely because of its unvarnished authenticity and, let's be honest, the sheer audacity of it all.
Can you imagine listening live as a radio show accidentally, or maybe intentionally, given what Hof said beforehand, broadcast the intimate sounds of a brothel owner getting busy?
It's a moment that undeniably cemented the show's reputation. That tagline they used, "Professional radio without the rules." That incident pretty much proved it.
And hadn't they joked about calling him back during the act?
They had. They'd asked him, "When she's coming, can we call?" And Dennis completely confidently replied, "Oh yeah, absolutely. I will pick up. Don't worry about it."
And he did, or at least they heard him.
He was a man of his word, even in the most intimate, unexpected circumstances, apparently.
Professional radio without the rules.
Yeah.
That's quite something.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, for a show pushing those kinds of boundaries, what was the internal feeling? Were there ever moments where even they thought, okay, maybe that was too far? Or was it just always full steam ahead, damn the torpedoes?
Judging from the tone in the transcripts, it really feels like it was almost always full steam ahead. Their whole identity seemed built on that edge. They thrived on it.
Right.
The reaction on air, like you heard, was pure, unadulterated amusement and excitement. There's really no indication of regret or feeling like they'd crossed some line they didn't mean to. For the Ham Radio Show, that was the line.
That was the line. Okay.
That incident wasn't some mistake they needed to apologize for. It felt more like a testament to their commitment to genuine, unmediated content, which, for them, was the ultimate form of entertainment.
It's one thing to talk about this world, Hof's world, but Eddie Finocchiaro didn't just talk about it. He actually lived it for a bit, famously recounting his trip out to Hof's Bunny Ranch.
Ah, yes, Eddie's big trip.
What was that like for him, to actually step into Dennis Hof's world, and how did that firsthand experience maybe shape his perspective even further.
It seems like it was a truly immersive experience, yeah. And it definitely deepened his understanding and admiration for Hoff. From the moment he arrived, Eddie was flown out to the Bunny Ranch in Reno, Nevada, actually Carson City, as he specified.
Yeah.
And he just consistently emphasized Hoff's incredible generosity. He kept saying things like Dennis Hof is the most gracious fucking guy in the history of the world, and that Hoff thought of everything, like the plane fare, luxurious rooms, seamless transportation. Totally. Eddie was swept into this world of just lavish treatment. He apparently got dressed hours early in his party clothes because he was so excited for an evening event, feeling utterly treated like a fucking king.
So Hoff lived up to the hype as a host.
Absolutely. This established this pattern of generosity that went way beyond just, a business transaction. It really reinforced Hoff's reputation as this truly exceptional host who made his guests feel completely taken care of.
And Eddie didn't show up empty-handed, right?
Eh.
Which also says something about the genuine connection they had.
That's right. As a gift for Hoff, Eddie brought something really unique and thoughtful. An authentic Time Life magazine from the exact day Hoff was born, complete with a certificate of authenticity.
Wow, that's a great gift.
It was apparently Joe, the show's engineer, who had the brilliant idea. But yeah, this kind of personal touch, wanting to get something truly special for Dennis, it really speaks to the depth of their relationship, doesn't it? It wasn't just about receiving Hoff's generosity, it was about reciprocating that connection.
Definitely. It reinforces Hoff's image as this incredibly generous guy who genuinely seemed to care for his guests, way beyond just business. It wasn't just about the services, it was about creating a whole experience, making people feel valued. So once Eddie actually arrived, what was the scene like? I'm picturing something out of a movie.
Well, according to Eddie, when he got there, he found Hoff holding court at this round table with a really eclectic mix of personalities.
Like who?
Okay, get this. Flavor Flav was there.
Wow, okay.
Bob Zamuda, Liz from the BBC, and Hoff's old ranch dog, Domino. Even Ron Jeremy was expected, though apparently, as Eddie put it, he was running late as always and needed someone to wake him up.
Ron Jeremy, Flavor Flav, a BBC reporter, and a dog.
Yeah.
Quite the gathering.
Exactly. And Eddie specifically remembered his interaction with Domino, the dog. Described him as halfway crippled but could get up at the drop of a hat and fuck you up if needed.
Totally.
Definitely. And Eddie was apparently delighted when this formidable dog eventually warmed up to him over several hours. It paints this picture, right? The Bunny Ranch as this vibrant hub for diverse, often unconventional personalities.
A unique atmosphere.
Yeah, a uniquely permissive atmosphere, it seems, where even the owner's dog had this significant presence and personality. It really underscores the kind of privileged access the ham radio show had to Hoff's inner circle and his whole world. It wasn't just a place of business. It felt like its own little community.
A halfway crippled dog that could still fuck you up? That almost sounds like a metaphor for the ranch itself.
Yeah.
Tough but welcoming, maybe.
Maybe. It certainly highlights the unique vibe. It wasn't just a sterile business. It was Hoff's home, his court, filled with characters, including the canine ones.
So this access, it wasn't just about hanging out with celebrities and dogs. It extended to Eddie's own personal experiences there, right?
Oh yeah, he was very open about that. He candidly recounted his sexual encounter at the ranch with a woman named Taylor, who he described as, quote, beautiful, and an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10.
High praise.
Indeed. He admitted to being flustered, though, and having this internal struggle during the encounter. Specifically, he was worried about, shit on the sheet, his words.
Okay, very candid.
Extremely candid, a concern he was apparently very proud to have avoided in the end. But the whole intense experience ultimately resulted in him making sweat angels on the sheets in the room, which he mentioned was a balmy 108 degrees.
White angels?
In 108 degrees. That is a detail that truly sticks with you. Wow.
Isn't it? Eddie's recounting of this, including the humorous and very human anxieties he shared, like the sheet situation and that memorable detail of the sweat angels, it just cemented the show's commitment to totally raw storytelling.
It really peels back the exotic veneer, reveals the often awkward, very human experiences happening inside Hoff's unique world. Exactly. He even detailed the cleanup mode afterwards, mentioned handy wipes, followed by a well-deserved $13 cigar and a glass of whiskey.
It humanizes the whole thing, doesn't it? It goes beyond just the titillation and shows you the real person behind the microphone having this, well, very unique experience.
Precisely. And the experience didn't just end there in the room. After his deeply personal encounter, Eddie apparently seamlessly rejoined the wider group. They were getting ready for a bigger party.
Back to the social scene.
Yep. He even made an appearance on Dennis's show, broadcasting alongside other notable figures like Panama. Ron Jeremy was finally there. Heidi Fleiss, Flavor Flav again.
Quite the lineup for Hof's own broadcast.
Right. Eddie made sure to note that the ham radio show definitely got some fucking promotion there. So this sequence, it just demonstrates that effortless blend of like personal indulgence, celebrity mingling, and even promotional opportunities that characterized Eddie's whole visit.
It really solidifies how interconnected their worlds were, something few other media outlets could probably achieve.
Yeah.
It highlights that unique space the ham radio show occupied in Hof's life, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And even his departure from the ranch. It sounds like it was just as eventful and memorable as his arrival.
It was. Eddie rode out in a stretch limo with two limo bunnies, as he called them. They were women returning to work at the Sagebrush Brothel, which was another one of Hof's, I think, 7 nearby establishments.
Okay.
After they got dropped off, Eddie found himself luxuriously in a $1 million limo all by herself, a fitting kind of grand finale to the whole experience.
You'd think maybe being left alone in a limo after all that might feel like a letdown, but it sounds like he saw it as pure luxury.
Seems like it. And Eddie also explained something else. He wasn't upset that a previously planned plane trip back fell through. He said he understood Dennis had to prioritize other highest-level priority guests.
Ooh, like who?
Well, he named Afro Man, Flavor Flav again, Joey Buttafogo.
Wow, okay, blast from the past.
Right. Heidi Fleiss, Ron Jeremy, and interestingly, Lamar Odom.
Lamar Odom. Okay, that name definitely comes up later.
Mm-hmm. And Eddie mentioned many other celebrities remain nameless, to protect their identities and, maybe more pointedly, their wives' feelings about them visiting a brothel.
Understandable from Hof's business perspective.
Exactly. So this closing part of Eddie's trip, it really underscores the sheer scale of Hof's operations, right?
Yeah.
And the continuous 247 nature of the brothel business. But it also reflects Eddie's, mature understanding and lack of entitlement about the whole thing.
He wasn't put out by the change of plans.
Not at all. It further cemented his profound respect and admiration for Hof as a host and as a person. It showed a genuine understanding of the demands on someone like Dennis Hof and a respect for his business, his priorities, and his guests' need for privacy. Third, the Lamar Odom saga, defending Dennis Hof.
Okay, now, this deep dive. It really wouldn't be complete without tackling one of the most controversial events in Dennis Hoff's later life. We hinted at it. The Lamar Odom saga.
Right, the incident at the Love Ranch.
Exactly. And the ham radio show, they fiercely defended Dennis Hof against what they saw as incredibly misleading, damaging allegations, especially those made in that TMZ special, Lamar Odom, Sex, Drugs, which aired about a year before the show discussed it again.
That special really kicked things off again.
It focused, of course, on Lamar Odom being found unresponsive at Hoff's Love Ranch. And this whole situation, it really tested the boundaries of the show's loyalty to Hof.
It absolutely did. It really galvanized them into action, you could say. Eddie, in particular, expressed just white-hot anger at, quote, this asshole who's still out there besmirching my friend and the show friend Dennis Hof, who's dead. Strong words.
Very strong.
Lamar's account in that special suggested he was, teetering on the brink of death, claimed he'd never walk or talk again, and it implicitly blamed the environment at the ranch.
Right. And crucially, Lamar also asserted in that special that he did not do any drugs the night he overdosed or OD'd. That became a major point of contention for the ham radio show.
Because they believed otherwise. Strongly.
Yeah.
And that's where they drew their line in the sand. This immediately set the stage for them to critically tear apart the narrative presented by TMZ, which they just flat out labeled as bullshit.
So no ambiguity there.
None whatsoever. Their unwavering commitment to defending their friend, defending his reputation, even after he was gone, against what they saw as sensationalized lies, that became a central theme.
But how did Dennis Hof himself address these allegations when he spoke to the show before he passed away? He must have talked about it.
Oh, he did. Dennis Hof had previously appeared on the ham radio show specifically to address the Lamar Odom incident directly. He gave his, typically candid perspective on what he said really happened at the Love Ranch.
And what was his take?
Hof explained that Lamar received absolutely unparalleled VIP treatment. He mentioned a lavish $20,000 fucking bungalow, 247 access to the whores, a fully stocked refrigerator packed with Kentucky Fried Chicken and water, apparently, and a chef on call, the whole 9 yards.
This is like VIP treatment, all right.
And Hof steadfastly maintained his policy. What stays here, stays here. emphasizing that strict rule of privacy for all his celebrity guests. He was essentially running this discreet, very high-end resort for adult entertainment, and privacy was paramount.
So his policy was absolute discretion. Makes total sense for that kind of business. And Hoff didn't exactly mince words about the overdose itself, did he?
No, he did not. His statement included a very direct challenge. It's not my fault he OD'd. We can't watch him 24 hours a day, which, is arguably true.
Right.
But then he added, but I just think he needs to get back there where he can have some fun, and I'm willing to give him a couple girls in the VIP suite on me.
Wow. So instead of backing down, he was basically offering him more services on the house.
Exactly. Classic Hoff, doubling down. The show also revealed Hoff's side about the privacy breach that 2 prostitutes who were in the room, specifically naming one, Monica Monroe, took pictures of Lamar. Hoff said they were fired immediately. And Hoff vowed to, quote, police up her ass if she ever tried to work illegally in prostitution again. So he was clearly serious about enforcing his rules and his privacy policy, even with his own staff.
But still, even with meticulous management, when a huge celebrity client overdoses on your property, there's going to be an inevitable spotlight and usually public blame pointed your way. How did the show reconcile Hoff's version with that overwhelming media narrative, which was definitely less sympathetic to him?
Yeah, that's the real crux of it, isn't it? Hoff's account painted this clear picture. A meticulously managed private business providing premium, discreet services. He was directly refuting any implication that he or the ranch were somehow maliciously responsible.
Right.
And the show's hosts, they openly speculated that Lamar was simply on a bender and OD'd. Their belief was strengthened, especially after TMZ itself later reported finding downers in his system.
Which directly contradicted Lamar's claim in the special of taking no drugs.
Exactly. So for the show, this detailed defense from Hoff, combined with those later reports, it all aligned perfectly with their consistent portrayal of Hoff as this honest, transparent, principled guy. It just further cemented their loyalty and their belief in his character. They weren't just taking his word for it, you see. They felt his version was corroborated, and they saw a huge double standard being applied to their friend.
And this leads us to another really explosive detail that the ham radio show exposed. The fact that the substantial bill from Lamar Odom's stay at the Love Ranch, it was actually paid by the Kardashian family.
Specifically Khloe Kardashian.
Right. And the show leveraged this fact heavily to challenge her public criticism of Dennis Hof, highlighting what they saw as just extreme hypocrisy.
It was a huge reveal for them, yeah. It completely shifted the narrative in their eyes. The show just loudly declared one of the ways that she takes care of him, admitted here on this very program by Dennis Hof, was that Khloe Kardashian is the one that paid for the whores. She paid the bill.
Paid for the whores they didn't hold back.
No. And they specified the total bill, initially quoting it as damn near almost $80,000. Later rounded it to $75,000. But they emphasized it covered everything. Lodging, the food, $247 with the 2 girls, a bar, and the amenities. It was far more than just, quote, hookers.
And the payment was made how?
On Hoff's American Express, that was a detail they clearly got directly from Dennis himself.
Okay, so they had the specifics. And their argument then became incredibly powerful and direct.
Devastatingly so from their perspective. They asked, essentially, if this man supposedly tried to kill your fucking husband, would you pay the outstanding damn near almost $80,000 fucking bill?
It's a fair question, isn't it?
It's a very compelling point. This payment, in their view, just directly undermined the whole narrative of Hoff as this villain. It raised serious questions about the Kardashians' true motives, suggesting a level of involvement, maybe even complicity, that totally contradicted their public statements.
If Hoff was truly the bad guy here, why would they settle such a massive debt with him? It just doesn't add up.
It absolutely flips the script, and the ham radio show, they did not shy away from that implication at all. And their accusations, they didn't even stop there.
What else?
They boldly suggested that Lamar Odom was moved from the hospital in Las Vegas, Sunrise Hospital, to Los Angeles not for better medical care,
But why then?
but for, quote, labor costs for the crew that has to film it for keeping up with the Kardashians.
Wow. That's a heavy accusation.
Oh, yeah.
That his hospital transfer was basically a production move.
That's what they asserted. They claimed the LA hospital effectively became a set, and the medical staff became background actors for the reality TV show.
How did they back that up? That sounds like a huge claim to make.
Well, they largely based it on the timing of the move, the consistent pattern they saw of the Kardashians leveraging personal crises for reality TV content, and, of course, their unwavering belief in Hoff's integrity. While they didn't present present, like internal memos or anything.
No smoking gun.
Right, no smoking gun for the set claim specifically. But it fit perfectly into their narrative of media manipulation by the Kardashians. It implied this calculated, almost cynical move to control the story and capitalize on a personal crisis for TV ratings.
Which contrasted starkly with the Kardashians' public condemnation of Hof.
Exactly. It painted the Kardashians as even more opportunistic, which only strengthened the ham radio show's defense of Dennis Hof.
Which then brings us right to their really powerful counter-argument against Khloe Kardashian directly. The show just vehemently criticized her for publicly calling Dennis Hof a publicity pimp.
Yeah, they took huge offense to that term.
And the hosts basically retorted that the entire Kardashian family is fundamentally based around publicity. They went straight for the jugular, citing Kim Kardashian's notorious sex tape with Ray J as the very foundation of their fame and their immense wealth.
They really went there.
Oh, yeah. They declared, that is why you have the opportunities as you have now. That's all your whole family is built around.
That's a strong, direct hit back. And it's absolutely critical for understanding the show's whole perspective on this.
Right. This powerful counter-argument, it positioned the Kardashians as deeply hypocritical, arguing that they themselves leveraged sensationalism for huge profit, while Hof, who was operating a legal, regulated business, was being unfairly vilified for his profession.
Exactly. The show just passionately defended Hof. Eddie declared, if there's air in my fucking lungs, I will defend Dennis Hof about this. He did nothing wrong.
Wow.
So look, this isn't just some juicy celebrity spat, right? It's a prime example of how narratives get controlled, how they get fought over, and how the ham radio show actively fought to redefine who gets to cast moral judgment in the public eye. It was a complete, total repudiation of the Kardashian narrative and just an unwavering defense of their friend. Fourth, the final chapter. Dennis Hof's last call in passing.
You know, it's always a strange feeling and incredibly poignant when you listen back to someone's last words, knowing what's coming next.
It really is.
Dennis Hof's last recorded call into the ham radio show, back in August 2018, just weeks before he died so unexpectedly. It provides this truly candid, wide-ranging discussion about his political campaign, his multifaceted public image. It's just a snapshot of a man living life fully, right up until the very end.
It truly is. During that call, Hof was sharing details about his political endorsements, figures like Grover Norquist, Roger Stone again, who famously called him the Trump of Pafrump.
Right.
He humorously acknowledged being called a pimp, but then immediately proudly highlighted his other titles. Oxford lecturer, reality TV star, still showcasing that enduring defiance of just being put in one box.
Still fighting that label.
Yep, and he even extended an invitation to the hosts for a giant party he was planning at the Hard Rock in Vegas, just illustrating his continued, exuberance and zest for life.
Yeah.
It was a perfect encapsulation of his whole public persona.
And in a moment, that feels almost prophetic, looking back.
Yeah.
He also discussed the recent passing of Vinnie Paul, the drummer from Pantera and Hell Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that part.
And he reflected on attending Dimebag Darrell's funeral years earlier, describing it as the greatest funeral ever, which is quite a statement.
It is.
Yeah.
Very Hof thing to say, perhaps.
Maybe so. And then he signed off with these words that now sound so powerful, almost melancholic. I'm going into a meeting here. I'm going to do some plotting and planning. Love you so much. Miss everybody. Stay in touch, brother.
Wow.
And Eddie's immediate reaction, right after that call ended, it just spoke volumes. He simply said, applause for my own personal Jesus Dennis Hof.
Yeah. Knowing what would follow just weeks later makes that moment incredibly raw, that appreciation right then.
This call, it really gives you this poignant glimpse into Hof's life right before his death.
Yeah.
It's this vibrant mix, right? Political ambitions, celebrity connections, personal reflections on mortality even, and just his characteristic bonhomie, his energy.
It shows a man just living life completely on his own terms right up to the very end. Utterly unapologetic and still full of plans.
And then the news broke. Dennis Hof passed away unexpectedly on a Tuesday at the age of 72, just 2 days after celebrating his birthday with a big party.
Yeah, the timing was just shocking.
It sent shockwaves, especially through the ham radio show community. And the way the news actually came out, it was almost as extraordinary as the man himself.
It really was. His body was found at the Love Ranch by Ron Jeremy, of all people.
Ron Jeremy found him.
Yep. With other celebrities apparently still in the vicinity, including, according to the show, the guy that owns the Lakers.
Unreal. The details surrounding his death were as larger than life as his life.
Pretty much. Eddie on the show vividly captured their profound grief. He said, We sort of lost a member of the ham radio family. It feels like I've lost a little bit more what Dennis Hof meant to me personally, as well as this show.
You could feel the loss was deep.
Oh, absolutely. The suddenness of his death, combined with the celebrity discovery aspect, it just added another layer of the extraordinary to Hof's life, even right at its ending. The shock and the deep personal grief for the hosts, for the crew, it was immediate, profoundly felt. It really marked a turning point for them as they had to process losing someone they truly considered family.
And in the aftermath, the ham radio show dedicated a very emotional, very unvarnished broadcast entirely to Dennis Hof.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Finocchiaro shared his deep personal grief and just passionately celebrated Hoff's true character, his lasting impact.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie had posted publicly on Facebook right away saying, "My friend and one of the most generous men I have ever known has passed away. To say that I am heartbroken is an understatement. Dennis passed all the salesmanship and bravado, was truly an amazing man, and I will miss him very much."
You can hear the pain there.
Absolutely. And then on air, he candidly admitted to actually crying on a public bus when he heard the news. That's raw, honest grief right there.
Mm-hmm. It truly is. It reveals the profound personal impact Hoff's death had on Eddie. It went way beyond just a professional relationship. It highlighted the genuine, deep-seated friendship they clearly shared.
And he also, importantly, firmly stated his belief about how Hoff died.
Right. He said he believed Hoff died of a blood clot or a heart attack, and not from any kind of physical wrongdoing or foul play. He emphatically dismissed any people trying to make a quick buck out of the story.
Still protective.
Absolutely. Still showcasing the show's protectiveness of Hoff's legacy against, opportunistic or sensationalized narratives, even right after his death.
And Eddie didn't just mourn the loss. He really eulogized Hoff's character fiercely.
He did. He vehemently defended Hoff's integrity, stating Dennis Hof was the most honest motherfucker to ever walk this earth that I personally knew.
Strong words again.
Very. He warmly recalled Hoff's consistent selflessness. He said, "Dennis, when it was his birthday, everybody else got the presents. That's what F. Dennis did. He quite frankly was the guy that made sure that you were F happy before he was F happy."
Wow. That paints a very different picture than the public persona sometimes suggested.
Completely. He mentioned Hoff was always readily offering drink coins at his places and just consistently treated the hosts like family. That's a powerful, almost beautiful testament to his character, isn't it? It totally reframes the public perception of this often controversial figure.
It absolutely does. And Eddie even shared a really touching personal detail, didn't he?
He did. He revealed that he still carries a small bag of Hoff's actual drink coins in his toiletry bag, as this cherished, irreplaceable memento of their friendship.
That's incredibly personal.
It is. This whole heartfelt eulogy, it just painted this powerful picture of Hoff as a profoundly generous, honest, and caring individual. Contrasting so sharply with any negative public perception, it was a profound testament to his genuine personal qualities, far beyond just being a brothel owner.
And finally, Eddie conveyed his conviction about how Hoff would want to be remembered, not with sadness.
Right. He said Hoff wouldn't want people crying our eyes out. Instead, he believed Hoff would want people getting laid, people having fun, having a party, going out there and enjoying life, because that's what this man did 365 days, 7 days a week.
Live life to the fullest.
That was the message. Eddie then emotionally pledged to actually pattern my life after the wisdom and the words of Dennis Hof, aiming to carry forward his friend's unique philosophy. That's a powerful, almost transformative legacy for his friends to try and carry.
It truly is. Hoff's legacy, at least as interpreted by his friends on the show, it was one of just unwavering hedonism, but also joy and uncompromising authenticity.
Mm-hmm. And the show's ongoing dedication to his memory, including Eddie's deeply personal pledge, it just highlights the transformative impact he had on them and their whole unfiltered ethos. It's clear Dennis Hof left a mark far beyond just his public persona or his businesses.
It's a testament, really, that even in the figures who court controversy, there can be these deeply human, loyal, and incredibly generous individuals underneath.
Absolutely. And it's worth mentioning, too, that Nick, the technician from the Canadian Unified Network, who was the crucial backbone of the show, he played a really vital role during this difficult time. He created a beautiful tribute on hamradio.com and meticulously provided all the clips needed for that emotional broadcast honoring Hoff. It was clearly a team effort, a family grieving.
So you've just taken a really deep dive into the truly unique, often wild relationship between Dennis Hof and the ham radio show.
Mm-hmm. Quite a ride.
From those shocking live broadcasts of, well, very personal moments, to the passionate defense against public allegations and those heartfelt tributes after his passing. We've explored a bond built on genuine friendship, totally unvarnished expression, and an unwavering commitment to authenticity.
And this story, it's really more than just a collection of, sensational anecdotes. It offers you, the listener, this rare, unfiltered look at a very controversial public figure, but through the eyes of those who genuinely knew him best.
It challenges you, hopefully, to look beyond the easy headlines, the conventional narratives, to see the complexities of character and the powerful influence that loyalty and personal connection can have in a world that's often way too quick to judge.
Yeah. So the provocative thought maybe to leave you with is this. In an age where public images are so meticulously curated and judgments are often instant and harsh, what does it truly mean to know someone, especially a public figure?
Right. And how might our own personal connections, or even just witnessing someone else's deep connection, alter how we understand these controversial stories, these enduring legacies? What stands out to you from this deep dive into Dennis Hoff's remarkable, complicated world?
Something to think about.
Definitely. We hope you've enjoyed this exploration, this dive into a truly unique story. And we'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.